Hi, what's going on, everyone? Thanks for coming out to segment 2 today of Show Me Your Faith. So today we're going to be talking about the burden of being the strong friend and how healthy people end up unhealthy. No need for a 5-minute welcome intro or anything like that today. Not about wasting time, so let's dive right on into it. So, we all know that the relationships in our life often shape and develop our characters and personalities. Being blessed with the opportunity to work with, lead, advise young people over the last few years has given me some good perspective and insight on the way that they interact with one another. One thing I found out is there's usually kind of an unofficial hierarchy in any group or friendship. Of course, this doesn't mean that any person is better or more important than another. So what I'm trying to say is there are a lot of different factors, whether it be physical maturity, age, education, financial status, mental and emotional health, even personality type, that kind of influence how we interact with those around us and also how we are perceived by others. You usually learn pretty quickly who the strong ones are, who has the most influence, and things like that. So today, I want to talk to the strong people. I want to talk to the healthy people. I want to talk to the leaders. I want to talk to those of us who have our lives together, myself included. And I want us to understand that we don't have to be strong all the time. More importantly, I want us to understand that sometimes the greatest act of strength is to admit that you need some help. So the goal of today, for all of us to find healthy ways to help us bear the burden of this heavy thing that we call life. Of course, this will in no way discredit what we talked about last segment, the difference between bearing burdens and bearing our own crosses. Rather, I want us to be able to continue to look at this, to identify and develop healthy relationships with one another, with ourselves, and with God. So, today it's going to be structured just a tad bit different than the last video. Today I want to look at 5 specific reasons why healthy people don't or feel like they can't reach out for help when the time comes and identify some things we can do to help change these. So the first one we have is called the fear of being exposed. This is probably the most common and relatable one out there. This one is, of course, rooted in that oh so deadly sin that we like to call pride. Once we gain the reputation and the perception of being a strong person, we now constantly feel the pressure to live up to expectations, whether they be our own or someone else's. We have a real fear of people seeing the real us. We have a fear of people figuring out that we don't have it all together. We fear not knowing to say when someone comes to us to ask us for help. And we don't want to lose this strong mystique that surrounds us. This is why it's such a necessity, guys, for us to have genuine relationships in our lives. Get you an accountability partner. This is why it's important for us to be connected to healthy people, connected to a church, a support group, a therapist, a counselor, a group of loved ones, whether it be family, friends, could even be a sports team or something like that. People that have seen the real us and still love and accept us for who we are. We all know too, if you spend enough time around somebody, this facade of perfection that you have or they have will eventually dissipate anyway. People are eventually going to figure you out, and you're eventually going to figure other people out. You may be able to hold on for a while, you may be able to fake it until you make it, but you're going to cause yourself a lot of unnecessary and undue stress in the process. So here's a key point here. Don't lose who you are out of fear of people not accepting you for who you are. Listen, if people don't accept you, that's their loss. Those aren't people that you need with you anyway. You need people who will lift you up in your time of need. All right, moving on. Number 2 here. So number 2 is one that I'm really big on, man. I'm big about doing kind of the little things each day to help us win the day. So number 2 is a lack of healthy habits or an abuse of current healthy habits. Again, I feel like we either kind of sometimes fall on one end or the other, one extreme or the other, to where we don't have enough healthy habits that we do, or we abuse something to the point where it doesn't become healthy or work in our favor anymore. So quick little story here for you guys, a little bit of humor in it as well. So me working at a gym in January, I promise you guys it's as crazy as people say it is. So those memes and Facebook posts and stuff that you see where there are like thousands of people rushing to the gym, it's literally exactly like that. So this is one of those rough days. It was the expiration date on a big January sale that we're having. Everybody procrastinates and, until the very last minute to come in. Ends up being a rough day. I'm talking like 14 plus hours, no proper lunch break, no time to really even sit down and breathe. You barely even remember your own name by the end of the day. Also, anybody that knows me that I love some cookout. I mean, I really freaking love me some cookout. This is like my go-to post-workout leg day cheat meal, or doing a night out with friends or something like that. I don't really do the bar scene or the nightlife or anything. My ideal night, let's go get a milkshake and a burger, come back to the apartment and chill, sit in the car and laugh at other people or something like that. So I decided to go to cookout after this rough day. Again, it's almost 11 o'clock p.m. when I'm going to be getting home. I'm not cooking any plain chicken and rice at 11 o'clock. It'll be midnight before I get done cooking and eating everything. And I remember, man, after eating this meal, which was obviously magnificent because it's cookout, I remember, man, the next couple of times I had a rough day at work, feeling the pressure to kind of go back again. It became easier and easier for me to skip healthy meals in favor of something quick and tempting and easy like that. And I remember I kind of had to sit down and have an internal conversation with myself of, you cannot develop an unhealthy relationship with food. This goes beyond just not messing up your fitness goals or gaining a little bit of body fat or anything like that. You don't want to develop an unhealthy relationship with food. You don't want to get to the point where, you can eat this and it not feel like an indulgence or a special occasion or anything like that anymore. It's the same thing that goes with, with drinks or anything else. I mean, how many alcoholics start with a single glass of wine at night or a beer after work one day? I know I'm kind of jumping to worst case scenarios here. You guys might feel like there's a little bit of exaggeration coming, but at what point does one drink not become enough? It becomes 2 drinks, 4 drinks, 8 drinks, until we have created thus another problem by trying to mediate the problem that we currently have using that. And again, not just food and drink, people abuse sex, people abuse television, people abuse sleeping. I mean, one of the telltale signs of depression out there is people who just consistently oversleep. Not talking about a quick nap here and there or anything like that. We all love a good nap. I'm talking about people who struggle to get out of bed and function normally throughout the day. So listen, find yourself some healthy outlets to help you manage your stresses and frustrations. They're going to be different for everybody depending on the things that you like, depending on the time that you have, the amount of money that you have, if you like to go out and do things. Listen, the personal trainer in me will tell you to exercise, substitute, again, an unhealthy meal for a good home-cooked, clean meal. Teach yourself how to cook, experiment with some fun things like that. Exchange some TV time, for a time in a book or in your Bible. Have a date night or a get-together with a loved one. Again, do something to help keep yourself rejuvenated, keep yourself functioning at a high capacity. Another thing I found out with healthy people that I kind of want to warn you guys against is healthy people oftentimes have a bad habit of getting healthy and then stop doing the things that make them healthy in the first place. So once you find these healthy things, once you get into a routine and develop some consistency, please stay on board with it and keep yourself healthy. All right, cool. So moving right along. Number 3, for all my millennials and Gen Z people out here. This number 3 is poor communication. So this also coincides with our first point about wanting to find the right people to talk to. Listen, guys, I know we don't like to talk to people nowadays. I don't like to talk to people most of the time. I know so many of us have very few people in our lives as well that we trust with private and personal information. Myself included, I'm a small circle guy. I got maybe 2 or 3 people in the world that know when I'm genuinely going through something. So I know things like depression and anxiety, man, they tell us to shut it down, to hold it all in, to not let it out, man, to not burden anyone else with our problems. I know there are so many resources out there, that teach you how to cope with stress and manage it on your own and stuff. But listen, you can only manage it for so long. You can only mediate it for so long. Again, we're not called to mediate our problems. We're not called to just get through our problems. We're called to be overcomers. And if you've gotten to this point, again, where your healthy habits don't work, where, we're cooking, socializing, working out, where you're consistently doing these healthy things and actively working to have a healthy lifestyle, and you're still hurting, it's past time to talk to somebody, guys. We have to have that balance of communication with others and managing things on our own. Again, they aren't mutually exclusive. You gotta have both. And again, they have to work in conjunction with each other because there's a time and a place for you to effectively use them both. So again, if you gotta start with a text message, listen, that's perfectly fine. I know how hard it is just to type out how you're feeling and press send on that message. Again, you should be proud of that. You're showing a lot of strength just by going to that. However, here comes some hard truth for everybody here. Again, this is where my millennials and Gen Zers are going to be like, oh my God, I can't believe he's telling me to do this. Listen, guys, you can never substitute a text message, a Snapchat, a DM, even a phone call for a real life, legitimate in-person conversation. Side note, COVID-19, please wear your mask, social distance, take care of one another. I think we all know that by now. But guys, people need to see your body language. I'm a hand talker, as you guys can see in this video. That's one of the reasons why I want to do it standing up today. Again, people need to see your body language. They need to hear the tone in your voice, man. You need to humble yourself and look somebody in the eye and confess your sins or your problem, man. You need to let out that hurt, man. You might have to show some raw emotion. You might have to cry or yell in front of somebody. Again, people want to see the real you, and you need to show them the real you in order to get through these problems. So again, find somebody to talk to, man. Pray that God will send the right person or the right people for you to talk to. And again, cannot stress this enough. Please don't hold it all in until you break down or until you explode. All right. And point number 4 here. Point number 4 is kind of based on the teaser that I gave you guys on Monday for what was coming up in this segment. Number 4 is you always pour it out, but are never poured into. This is something that I beat into the brain of my pastor, who's also my best friend, so I can do it to him on what seems like daily or weekly basis sometimes. And he did the same thing to me whenever we were working together at the gym. So it's cool. It's all love. So quick funny story for you guys again, real quick. So I remember back at the gym, side note, every example won't be specifically work or gym related. Like literally the only things I've done the past 4 years have been either work at the gym or work out in the gym. So as I begin to broaden my horizons, we'll get some better and more detailed examples, I promise. So back at work, being in a management position, we would often have our corporate or our regional managers, come down, periodically for what they called a visit. They called it a visit, just kind of wanting to put a positive connotation on things. Totally understand that. I was blessed to work with, fairly good supervisors the majority of my tenure there anyway. They would always do our monthly inspections during these visits. They'd take kind of a general overview of the health of our club. And one thing I liked was that they would always sit down with the managers back in the office, towards the end of the visit, just kind of shoot the breeze, having a personal conversation, and stuff like that. I remember one time one of my supervisors asked me that. He said, Jordan, what do you think is the most challenging part about being a GM? Mind you, they're probably expecting some sort of superficial answer like, staffing and scheduling, or the hiring process sucked, which it did, or, rude gym members being mean to me. And I'm like, no, man, that's job duty stuff, man. That's what I get paid to do, is deal with this kind of stuff and handle it. I said it feels like there's kind of a general emptiness that comes with leadership sometimes. I say it's hard for me to reach out and find people to talk to. I feel like we're being pulled in so many different directions every day, and we're pouring out into, of course, our member base and working for the business, and we're working for our corporate and our HR people, and, we're leading and developing our coworkers and being that example for them. By the way, you lead people and you manage work. I'll say that again for all my leaders and managers out there. You lead people and you manage work. You'll have a lot better success doing things that way. But I remember after I got finished explaining this to them, man, feeling like that, wasn't always reciprocated back to us. They just kind of seemed dumbfounded by what I said. It was more so just kind of like, oh, okay, well, thanks for sharing that. I'm like, all right, well, great talk, man. Appreciate that. So that monthly bonus that we're talking about on my inspection, is that going to be on this payroll or next? So this segment here is for all my leaders, all my managers, all of our healthy people, man, for our burden bearers, for our restorers. Again, don't want to spend too long going over specific examples, but find someone to pour back into you. Find a way to rejuvenate yourself, practice self-care, rest. And then again, here's this one. I got it typed up in all caps in my notes. Go read the blog. Do not be afraid to say no. Warren Buffett, one of the richest people in the world, freaking billionaire. The difference between successful people and really successful people is that really successful people say no to almost everything. Here's the key point. You will eventually have nothing left to pour out if you are never refilled. And point number 5 here, last one. This is kind of an under the radar one, something that I don't really feel like a lot of us realize we're doing while we're doing it. And this is measuring up our problems against others. So it almost becomes kind of an informal competition of who is the biggest mess and who deserves to have their problem addressed by the friend or the group or the church or whatever. Of course, the people with the biggest problems often get the most attention. To some extent, they of course should. We all obviously know that there are things that need a little bit more of immediate, attention and fixing. But what I want to advise to all of us strong people out there today, don't hold your problems in simply because they don't measure up to the magnitude of others. I know that we feel pressured sometimes, to be selfless, to bury our problems, and do whatever we can to help others at the expense of ourselves. And again, man, that sacrifice and everything is what makes us who we are. It's what makes us great. However, you can't be so concerned with helping others all the time, too, that you fail to get the help you need yourself. Of course, like I said, there's a time and a place for everything to be addressed, but listen, you never have to feel insensitive for seeking the help that you need, no matter how big or how small your problems are. That test or that exam you've been worrying about, might be causing you the same amount of stress as somebody who's struggling to pay their rent this month. Again, we know the problems aren't the same in terms of the consequences of these two things. However, the stress we may be feeling, the pressure we may be feeling may be the exact same weight on us. For all my Christian family out there, that small sin, that occasionally watching porn 2 or 3 nights a week may not, cause the same negative outcome as the drug addict who is seeking and needs deliverance. However, it still needs to be addressed. The longer we put off our problems because they're not big enough, the bigger those problems are going to become. All right, guys, in conclusion, again, I certainly appreciate everybody, again, taking the time to watch the video today. The support has been so overwhelming lately. Thank you so much. And I hope all of us reading and watching this today have gained some more insight how to keep ourselves as healthy as possible. These 5 things are not always easy to do. These, of course, aren't the only 5 things that we're going to do. Just wanted to give you guys some specific examples today. We need to keep ourselves healthy, guys. We owe it to ourselves and to others to keep ourselves healthy. Listen, I'm sick and tired of us just being functional and making it through life. We're not called just to be average, just to make it through life, just to live. We're called to have life and have it more abundantly. And we're called to serve a broken and a hurting world out there. It's a world that needs to see our weakness and how we're made strong. Whatever weakness we may have, remember, listen, His grace is sufficient for us, man. His power is made perfect in our weakness. And admitting that you are weak and seeking help may be the thing that somebody else sees that helps them get delivered, and that's the thing that makes you strong. All right, guys. Again, certainly appreciate the time today. Thank you guys so much for coming out. Don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube page, share the post, comment, let me know how you feel. Again, it's from the bottom of my heart. Thank you guys so much for the love and support for everything. We'll see you guys again next Thursday. Remember, we'll be doing these on a weekly basis moving forward, and we'll probably post some kind of teaser on Monday or Tuesday or something, going through the topic we'll be discussing on Thursday. So, love you guys. Have a great rest of the day. Peace out.